up on First at 4, snow leads to some schools dismissing early near the Virginia and Tennessee borders. We'll check on road conditions. And the Hazard Police Chief wants to build a memorial to honor fallen Perry County officers.
And snow showers will move out this evening. Cold air will settle in tonight. First at 4 is next.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News First at 4.
Good afternoon, I'm Steve Hensley. First at 4, some of us saw snow flurries today, others nothing at all. But it's a different story in Harlan County where the snow has been coming down steadily. Some schools even dismissed early. WYMT's Hannah Reynolds talked to road crews about preparing for something we've seen very little of this year.
So I've been riding around with crews here in Harlan County that are trying to put some salt on the roads because, as you can see around me, the snow is starting to accumulate, and that's why they're trying to get ahead of the game. Crews started early this morning putting salt on the roads, as they say the salt works best at about 20 to 30 degrees. The county and secondary roads in places like Lynch, Clover Lick, Pine Mountain get snow even sooner than the rest of the county because of their elevation. At the end of the day, crews say it is safer for everyone if they lay the salt early like this before the biggest amount of snow heads their way.
Well, especially with our safety, it's easier for us to remove the snow, and if emergency does happen, then there's something already there to help with certain situations.
Now the crews are still going to be out here in Harlan County for the next several hours, making sure they hit every single road that are problematic to make sure that there are no issues tonight and into tomorrow as the snow continues to accumulate. For now in Harlan County, Hannah Reynolds, WYMT Mountain News.
And to keep an eye on the snowfall in the Tennessee and Virginia border counties, make sure you download our WYMT weather app.
And we just got this photo in from one of our WYMT weather spotters, Kyle, down into Harlan. This just shows how elevation plays a big role in events like this. You can see snow accumulating on top of the mountains over there in Harlan County. However, down in the valleys, it looks more just wet and not seeing any of that snow accumulate. So if you are in those higher elevations, make sure to take it easy as we head throughout the night tonight. And of course, out of here. Temperatures, though, dropping to about those mid to upper teens tonight, so it's going to be very chilly, but we do see sunshine return by tomorrow. I'll have more details coming up in a little bit.
All right, thank you, Paige. Lawmakers were asked to take action against cancer this morning. As Jim Stratman reports, patients, survivors, and volunteers had a simple message to send to lawmakers.
Make cancer a priority.
4 words, but a message members of the American Cancer Society say lawmakers need to hear.
So an estimated 26,500 Kentuckians will be diagnosed with cancer in 2020, and roughly 10,540 will die from the disease.
We're hopeful. We're trying to see every representative and every senator here to make sure that they know what our message is and what we're asking for this year.
Members from the American Cancer Society wanted to make their point known to lawmakers, so they've lined this hallway between the annex and the Capitol building with the stories of survivors. Pam Pilgrim is one of those survivors, and today she brought 3 high school students from Eastern Kentucky with her to speak to their senator.
He was very, very engaged with them, which I was very pleased with. But we gave him our priorities. He did not commit to any of them, but we will follow up with him regularly till the session is over.
Those follow-ups are vital because officials say the risk not to is too great.
We need to do everything we can to reduce the mortality rate because it's still high in Kentucky, and lawmakers can help that.
In Frankfort, Jim Stratman, WKYT.
An area is now chosen for a project honoring a special group of officers who have served the people of Perry County. WYMT's Madison Pergram is in the newsroom to explain more. Madison?
It has been a long time in the making, a police memorial in Perry County. This is Chief Minor Allen's project for the last 10 to 15 years. It includes researching, organizing, and planning. Throughout his research, he found 23 police officers have died in the line of duty in the last 120 years in the county. That includes 3 Hazard Police Department members, 16 Perry County deputies, 2 constables, 1 Kentucky State Trooper, and 1 railroad detective. Allen says he is just ready to see the plan come to life.
Something for people to come by to want to see, and an attraction for them to come by into town and look at that particular monument.
Allen is seeking the community's help. He's asking for donations to get the memorial underway. You can donate by either dropping off or mailing a check to the police department. We'll have more about the wall coming up. Steve.
Thank you very much. Roger Stone has his prison sentence, but he is not going to jail just yet. Stone emerged from a federal court to chants of lock him up and cheers from supporters after receiving a prison sentence of just more than 3 years on charges of obstruction, lying to Congress, and witness tampering. A federal judge delayed Stone's sentence until she reviews his request for a new trial based on allegations of political bias. President Donald Trump reacted to the sentence at a law enforcement event in Las Vegas and speculation he might pardon Stone.
At some point I'll make a determination, but Roger Stone and everybody has to be treated fairly, and this has not been a fair process.
The judge also ordered Stone to pay a $20,000 fine and perform 250 hours of community service. The final sentence was far lighter than the original 7 to 9 year sentence federal prosecutors recommended. All 4 of those prosecutors resigned from the case after Attorney General William Barr overruled those recommendations. A Tennessee inmate is set to become the 5th person to die in the state's electric chair in the past 16 months. This is Nicholas Sutton. He killed a fellow inmate in 1986. Sutton was already serving time for killing 3 people when he was just 18. The 48-year-old's execution is set for tonight. Tennessee Governor Bill Lee declined to grant Sutton clemency following a petition from Sutton supporters. It is a discovery no first responder wants to make. 2 newborns were found dead at a recycling center in New Jersey yesterday. Police officers discovered the first newborn and while investigating discovered the other one 6 hours later. The medical examiner's office is performing autopsies to determine the cause of death. Parents in Texas are mourning after a toddler fell into a septic tank and died. It happened as the 2-year-old was standing on the tank's lid at an RV resort park when it collapsed beneath her. She fell 15 feet. The child's father says people tried to reach the girl with a rope, but it was too short.
Upon arrival, initial police officers and firefighters found civilians from the park here attempting to rescue a child who had fallen approximately 15 feet down into a septic system.
Emergency crews from several local agencies worked together to remove her body from the tank. Investigators in Florida are trying to determine how a car rolled off a ferry into a channel about 50 feet deep, killing both women inside. It happened Tuesday as the car was apparently at the front of the ferry, which was transporting vehicles and passengers from Fisher Island to Miami Beach, which is only 2 miles away. Dive crews found the 2 women inside the car, reportedly embracing each other in the back seat. A gunman went on a deadly shooting spree in western Germany, killing 9 people. Authorities say the 43-year-old German man unleashed a deadly rampage in a Frankfurt suburb. Police say the suspect opened fire at 2 hookah bars, beginning his killing spree at the first lounge before driving to another. The suspect reportedly left behind a racist manifesto using terminology from the Nazi era, writing about purification and attacking ethnic groups and races, which he called destructive in every sense. Police found both the shooter and his mother, both dead, inside his home. In the most fiery debate of the election season so far, Democratic presidential hopefuls focused their attacks on Mike Bloomberg. It was the former New York City mayor's first time on the debate stage in about a decade and his first formal introduction to voters in the race for the White House. All candidates on stage had their sights set on the former mayor and brought anticipated attacks on his stop and frisk policy.
The policy was abhorrent, and it was, in fact, a violation of every right people have. I can't think of ways that would make it easier for Donald Trump to get reelected than listening to this conversation.
Bloomberg, who has apologized for the failed policy, said he was embarrassed by stop and frisk. Despite the criticism, Bloomberg picked up new congressional endorsements after the debate. Elizabeth Warren, who had the most speaking time and most jabs at her competitors, is touting a spike in fundraising. The U.S. economy may be doing well, but that is not reflected in many paychecks. The Economic Policy Institute reports the median increase in 2019 paychecks was slower than expected at just 1%. That while earners at the top of the income ladder received the largest increase, 4.5%. Economists struggle to explain the sluggish wage growth for average and low earners. America's labor market is healthy and the unemployment rate sits near a 50-year low. Heading over to Wall Street now on this Thursday afternoon, the Dow closes down today more than 128 points.
Been sickened by the flu. I'm Elise Preston. Coming up, how the flu vaccine is doing this season.
And sunshine and warmer temperatures return for the weekend, but rain returns by Monday. We'll talk about our next rainy system coming up.